All right, we'll start out with Duke and Coach Cutcliffe. What a great job he's done. He's been there 11 seasons now, or this is his 11th. Has done wonderful things with that program. He's two-time ACC Coach of the Year. Was obviously in the SEC at one time at Ole Miss. Did a great job there. Got a lot of respect for Coach. Been knowing him a long time, and how he handles his team and how he handles his quarterback play and all that kind of stuff. He does a great job. Their offense has got 7 returning starters. He's got 6 seniors on that offense. They're averaging 31 points a game. They're leading the conference in touchdown passes with 21. Jones, their quarterback, is thrown for almost 1,500 yards, 13 touchdowns. He's second in the league in pass efficiency. When you look at him, his body type, you'd say he's a prototypical NFL pocket passer, but the guy's agile. He does run the ball. He's a dual threat for sure. Very tough physically and mentally. Does a great job. Number 25, Jackson, outstanding rusher. Outstanding rusher, rushed for over 500 yards and 5 touchdowns. So far last week he had 162 yards rushing and over 400 yards total offense, which was pretty amazing, that ball game. Their senior receiver, Ramming, number 3, leads the team with 39 catches, almost 400 yards and 6 touchdowns. Number 5, Lloyd, has 32 catches, 400 yards, 440 and 5 TDs. He's got 1,000 career receiving yards. Against us, had 9 catches. So looking forward to trying to do a little better against him. Tight end Noah Gray, number 87, has 12 receptions to lead their tight ends and a touchdown. They're third in the country in the fewest penalty yards per game. So they've done a nice job in that area. Defensively, they're giving up 23.5 points per game. Their defense ranks 4th in the ACC, giving up 200 yards in the passing game. Their pass defense, they're second in the conference in red zone defense, allowing just 12 touchdowns with 22 trips. Victor Dimukeji, number 51, has 27 tackles, 6 tackles for loss. So of their interior defensive linemen, he's doing a great job, or in the down 4. Rump, freshman, number 96, leads the team with 3 sacks, 7.5 tackles for loss. Doing a great job. Joe Giles Harris, number 44, leads the team with tackles, total tackles 69, ranks 4th in the league. He's got over 300 career tackles, so been playing a bunch. Humphrey, 34, has racked up 52 tackles. Their other linebacker, Ben, didn't play last game. Some type of injury, leg injury, not sure if he'll be back or not. And then their junior, Singleton, number 16, has 64 tackles, leading the perimeter with tackles. Field goal kicker Wareham, number 94, is 5 out of 6. Has hit the long of 35 yards. Their punter is averaging 43 yards a kick, and he's had 10 over 50 yards, so he can boom them. Jackson, as we mentioned before, number 25, is also their return specialist on kickoffs, averaging 27 yards a kick. And Ramming is averaging 6.8 on punt returns, longest of 32. So it's going to be good to be home. It's going to be good to go play another game. You know, both teams are hungry for a victory right now. Both teams are 5-3. Both teams need a win, and that's what we're working towards, and they are too. So we're looking forward to the battle, and we're looking forward to our cane walk and our fan base backing us up and doing a great job to give us that home field advantage that is so crucial in these games. So with that, we'll open it up.
Coach, there's been some scrutiny over the past 2 weeks with the play calling.
Right.
How do you respond to that?
Well, I respond to it in that there's nothing wrong with the plays being called, quite frankly. What's wrong is we haven't executed well enough. I mean, if anybody got in the room with us and saw what we were doing and how we were doing it and why we're doing it, if they knew football, they'd know that, we got to do a better job of executing what we call, quite frankly. And that's, again, I've been saying that's coaching all along too. part of it. You know, there are sometimes a certain play would be better than another play at a certain time, but, you know, the bottom line is, if we looked at the tape and said these plays got no chance of success, then I would agree. But that's not the case. The plays have chance for success if everybody does what they're supposed to do. And the tough thing about offensive football is, most every time 11 out of 11 got to do it right. You know, there could be times when maybe a guy over here on the backside has a missed assignment or something, it doesn't affect it, but for the most part, everybody's got to do their job. And even some of the successful plays, you know, if a ball's thrown here instead of here, maybe a guy, has the ability to keep running and not slow down and maybe scores a touchdown. Or maybe if we, get a lineman up on a backer a little bit better, a quarterback draw scores a touchdown instead of gets tackled on the 2 or 3. There's just a lot of little things that aren't getting done well enough. And so, if there comes a time when, everybody does it right and we got problems then I'll agree with that statement.
Mark, when you came here, you expressed that was something you really look forward to doing again.
Right.
Just to come back to it. You were at Georgia after about 5 or 6
years. 6 or 7.
Mike Lobo started calling plays
Mm-hmm.
at that point.
Yeah.
Is that so? And it seemed you handed it over much before. Do you still feel the same way about play calling? Is there a time?
Yeah.
Is there a time here you think that maybe I get
that's
someone else to call them?
not right this minute. We're not thinking in terms of that.
Mark, are you at a point where you got to find the guys to do it right? If the guys that are in there aren't?
Well, what happens is, every time you change if you change a guy, then that guy has a learning curve too. We are playing a lot more younger guys than we expected to. We've had some injury issues. We've had some things like that caused us to play, certain guys. And obviously, younger guys have more trouble being consistent than a veteran. That's just the way it is. And I'm not blaming the freshmen by any means. But the bottom line is, if you start, you make a change, then all of a sudden this guy is going to go through his issues, So the thing to do is for everybody to stick together, everybody to keep working hard, everybody to keep perfecting what they do and take care of their job, and we'll be fine. So that's the answer, in my opinion.
A lot of times you hear that guys are trying to do too much, maybe they get out of position because of that. Do you find that?
I don't know if that's the case. I'm more worried about, the bottom line is everybody has an assignment, and if everybody handles their assignment, you got to know what to do, you got to know how to do it, and you got to do it with some energy. You got to do it with some physicality. And when we do those things on a consistent basis, we'll do a lot better than we're doing right now.
Mark, one of the things that Travis brought up today was, he was about as upset as Richt in a while. He said that it's time for the leaders on this team to start leading. Do you agree with that statement?
That's always true. It's always good. It's always true. And he's one of our captains this week, and he's got the right to say that. And you don't have to be a captain to lead, that's for sure. But yeah, it's people think a leader is a guy that jumps up and says something and inspires everybody to do this, that, or the other thing. But also part of leadership is just taking care of your job, taking care of your business. And then when you do that on a consistent basis, you've earned the right to say, hey, this isn't good enough. If you're a guy that has part of the problem and you try to be the leader, no one's going to listen to you. But if Travis Homer says something, guys are going to listen to him. He's been that kind of guy. He's been a consistently outstanding performer. He plays offense. He plays special teams. He's been stellar at just about everything he's attempted to do. And so, if anybody has a right to say something on the offensive team, it would be him.
Mark, we've heard players talk in the past about not having good practices on offense, not executing the plays that you want to run in practice. How much have you sort of left on the practice of the plays, part of in terms of
Well, what we do, here's what happens is, if we run a play and it's not executed properly, we call out reload. Reload means let's do it again. Okay, so we do it again. Okay, we get it right, we go to the next play. If the next play is not good, we do it again. You know, so we have our one unit taking X amount of reps. And if they get through their rack of 5 plays or whatever it is, then usually there's time enough for the number 2 unit to get 3 or 4 reps, whatever it is we choose for them to get. So if we execute well, the 2s get more reps. If the 1s don't execute too well, the 1s might take them 7 times to get 4 plays right. Well, then there's not a whole lot for the 2s to get a lot of reps. Then we go right back to the 1s again. You know, so the key is, I mean, we're going to make the corrections as we go. We don't just say, oh, too bad and forget about it. I mean, when it's not done properly, we do it again with the 1 unit. The 2 units, if they make a mistake, we got to move forward because we can't stop the practice and just run 4 plays, you know. So the bottom line is, you know, we're making the corrections every single day, every single practice. And, you know, the better the offense executes with the 1 unit, the more plays that the number 2s get during practice. But quite frankly, gives the number 1 unit a little bit of a blow, you know. If you get your rack of 5 in a row and you do a good job, the 2s are in there for 3 plays and you get a little bit of a rest, you know. If you don't get much rest. You just keep going, you keep grinding, and that's how you do it.
But do you see when the plays don't work, I guess, in other words, do you not bring them to the game on Saturday? If there's a play
we don't like, you'll certainly throw it out, but it's just because one guy makes a mistake on a play doesn't mean the play's bad. That's the whole point we're trying to make. Okay? It's not that the play's bad, it's the execution of the play is not bad. So if everybody doesn't do it right, we re-rack it and we go do it again until we get it right. When you get it right, hey, it works. Everybody. I mean, we'll show at the end of the week the plays that were just self-destructed through somebody not doing their job. We'll show that. But then we'll also show the ones, hey, guess what? When we do it right, this is what it looks like. Success. You know, and so we just got to be more consistent in the execution.
And along those lines, are the plays working in practice and then not in games, or like is there a disconnect somehow?
No, you act like, well, the bottom line is we're not scoring enough points right now, okay? So every play is not a failure, okay? Everybody might feel that way, but it's not. A lot of them have done extremely well, you know? And again, the bottom line is, I mean, you could only rep so many plays versus so many looks, okay? You try to run the plays versus the looks you think you'll see. But it's impossible to run every single play versus every single defense you might see. You know, so we get as many as possible that we can, and every once in a while there might be a defense that wasn't exactly what we had practiced against the scout team. And the other thing is the scout team can't simulate perfectly the team you're about to play. It's physically impossible for those guys to be as good or better than the team we're about to play. You know, so you got the human element of the man-on-man blocking or whatever it may be. This guy, he might have blocked that scout team real good. Everything was rosy. And then, you know, he comes against another guy that maybe he didn't block him as well or get as much movement. You know, maybe you get, you know, 3-4 yards on a run. Well, you know, that's boring sometimes, but 3 or 4 yards on a run is, you know, you're moving the ball down the field. You're reducing the third down situations, and it's, you know, sometimes there's some tough runs that you get 3, you get 4, you know, and you know, all those things come into play.
Mark, you're managing quarterbacks with, I would say, different skill sets. You know, Malik's got his strengths. He runs probably a little better, a little more physically built. Nicozi's got a little bit of a different type of skill set and stuff. How much is that impacting this season in terms of, you know?
I don't think it is. I don't think it is.
He actually answered the question, but I was wondering, are there more mistakes? Do you see more mistakes now or missed assignments now than you did earlier in the season?
No.
Or anything like that?
No.
Mark, you mentioned Travis is a captain this week.
He is this week, yeah.
I think he's been every week, maybe 1 or 2. He hasn't been.
Talking about being a captain?
Yeah.
Sometimes he gets it on special teams as well, but yeah.
You touched on it. What is it about him that you see?
He just shows up every day. He knows his assignments. He takes care of business. He's a great pass protector. He runs well. You know, backs on certain running schemes, the inside zone, there's a certain track you take. outside zone, there's a certain track you take. If it's a power, if it's a counter, whatever it is, there's a certain footwork and a certain track that you take to set up your blocks, to give you the best chance to set up your blocks. And he runs his track right where he's supposed to run it. And if it's, you know, he's not a guy, if it doesn't look pretty, he'll hit the brakes and try to turn and run some other direction. He's going to stick it in there and get what he can get. You know, sometimes that's that 3-yard run that he might have had contact at 1 and he hits the crease and has enough energy to push the pile 2 yards or break a tackle, whatever it may be. You know, he's a very solid human being in the way he goes about his business and as a football player as well. He's tough physically and mentally, and he's got the mental discipline to do it every day. You know, does he ever make a mistake in practice? Yeah, I mean, they all do every once in a while, but he makes very few mistakes because the amount of cumulative reps he's had, number one, and the fact that his personality is that kind of guy. And that's the maturity level that we need to have more of across the board.
Thomas Brown told us that, you know, most teams have a few leaders or small amount of leaders, more followers, and that's great, but that there are too many third-party guys now, and
Well, I don't know what he's talking about, so you have to ask him about that.
guys that work kind of aren't on board, aren't.
I don't believe that.
You don't believe that? Okay.
No. I think some guys are trying to get there. I think they're trying to get there. Maybe not mature enough to be there, but
How do you help
I don't believe that. You keep consistent. You keep banging away. You keep giving the same message. You keep working. You don't all of a sudden change everything, and then everybody gets confused. You know, there's a standard of how we want things to get done. We just keep pushing toward that standard, and when they figure it out, you know, more guys on a consistent basis, it'll get better.
We didn't see Will out there today. Did
Yeah.
he come out later, or is?
No, Will has a little eye infection, so I don't know how long that'll last, to be honest with you. All right, last one. Yeah, last one. Go ahead right here. I'm sorry.
Problems.
I'm sorry?
Part of any season.
Right.
How do you think everybody's handling it?
I don't know how y'all are handling it, but I know the team's together and unified, and the staff is. But, you know, everybody else seems to be in a tizzy, but we're pretty solid, believing in ourselves and believing in what we do, and our guys are, you know, pushing towards, you know, the next game and the next victory. All right, thank you, guys.